Hello guys, and welcome to my three-way comparison IEM review of the Shure KSE1500 electrostatic IEMs, the Sennheiser IE800 dynamic driver based IEMs, and the Shure SE846 balanced armature based IEMs. Now, essentially, this is an interesting comparison because each IEM uses a completely different technology to essentially create sound. Uh, the KSE 1500 is the first of its kind in terms of being a noise isolating based IEM. There are other IEMs though that use this technology, but in terms of being able to block out as much noise as it can, this is the first of its kind. This is an electrostatic, which is normally found in headphones, and this driver is basically a very massless based diaphragm, which is basically charged at very high voltages, and it creates sound on a very equal plane where the entire diaphragm moves back and forth, and there's no, pressure or excursion on certain points of the diaphragm, like a dynamic driver, for example. And as a result, the transient response is very, very, very quick, and everything sounds very clean and snappy. However, the downside to this is that it requires a lot of power, and therefore you're going to need an extra amplifier, which this does come with, and basically it's very expensive to produce, as you can tell by the price tag of this being 3,000 USD. The IE800s, on the other hand, uses a more traditional speaker technology, which is a dynamic driver. It's basically a moving coil. But however, this is a very special kind of driver. Sennheiser calls it a XWB, which is an extra wideband. However, they're just telling you that the frequency response on this is very, very broad. I believe it extends all the way down to 8 hertz and then extends all the way up to 46,500 hertz. Doesn't really matter because we don't listen, we can't really perceive frequencies above 20,000 hertz and really below 20 hertz, but it does showcase the technological advances that this specific driver that Sennheiser produced can accomplish. Moving over to the Shure's SE846, it uses, a balanced armature, which is traditionally was produced for hearing aids. However, balanced armatures do have an advantage in that they are quicker than dynamic drivers. Well, most dynamic drivers in terms of their ability to respond to the impulse signal. So their transient responses are very, very good. And what Shure did, which what a lot of companies are doing, is they take a bunch of drivers and then they put them together to basically form one sound. And by dividing the frequencies up into multiple drivers, you essentially, in theory, you can get better performance since each driver is tailored to a specific category, and it can essentially unleash all of its potential into that specific category of the frequency. This design is a four-way, actually, sorry, it's a three-way, four-driver design. What that means is there's four individual speakers, and it's crossed over in three individual ways. So it's divided up into the bass, mid-range, and treble frequencies. The special thing about the 846 that no other IEM has is a low-pass filter, in which Shure incorporated into these subwoofers, where basically you have 10 steel welded plates that stretch about 4 inches long, but they're somehow cramped into the size of an IEM that's about hey big. So it's quite special because it does give a very, very, very stupendous bass response that I so adore about these things. The other two speakers is a mid-range speaker, and then you have a tweeter, which is like your standard, configuration. Nothing special really there, but the speakers in the SE846 are not manufactured by Knowles, but I believe they are proprietary to Shure, but they were tailor-made and manufactured by Sonian. Not too sure if that's the case or Shure manufactured themselves, but essentially these are not using your traditional off-the-shelf speakers that a lot of a lot of companies use for their IEM designs. So let's get a brief overview of what comes in the packaging for each IEM. This is the KSE1500. Box is rather nice on this one. I'm really a fan of the draw mechanism. A lot of these things are really wedge tight. The KSE1500s comes with a nice portable carrying case, which is the exact same as the one that the SE846 comes with. And with the KSE1500, you're able to carry around the extra set of tips to help you get that, that just right fit, as well as the IEMs themselves nestled in nice and compact. I like this case a lot. I really, really do. Okay, so with that being off, the KSE1500s will be laying in here with the amplifier on this side as well. I'll show you those two in a few. And down here is like a nice little drawer in which you have, well, I don't think I can get that out. It's really deep in there, but this is the AC adapter to charge your proprietary amplifier. I believe this outputs 5 volts at 1 amp, so you can essentially use any cell phone charger. The amplifier charges via micro USB. This is a user guide, and also I would recommend reading this because it teaches you how to use the amplifier. It has a little screen, so it does have a digital interface to help you tailor the sound to your your likings. Also, you have a ton of accessories in here. This is a 3.5 to 3.5 to connect a your analog out from a DAC to the analog in on the amplifier. You have the micro USB standard cable to charge your amplifier. You have a rather longer 3.5 to 3.5 in case the source is pretty far from the amplifier or it's stationary and you don't want to move it. You have a micro USB to micro USB so that you can plug this up to an Android device and allow it to deactivate the amplifier section on the device and only stream digital to the amplifier on the KSE1500, because the amplifier for the KSE1500 comes with a integrated DAC. They also have one for your iOS devices right here, which basically has a lightning at the other end and a micro USB to plug into the amplifier. It works natively with them, so there's no extra hoops or anything you have to jump through. They just plug them in and they're good to go. They work perfectly fine with my iPhone 6s Plus and iPad Air 2. You also have a bunch of other accessories here. You have like a ribbon, actually a rubber band strap to, if you want to, attach the KSE1500, which is over here. Let me just show it to you guys. I have it in the leather case. So you want to attach it to your phone or a dedicated digital audio player, you could just put this over there and strap it together. I don't really recommend the phone because it's going to defeat the purpose of the touchscreen when the band goes around the screen. But if you're a die-hard audiophile, I don't think that will even matter to you. But yeah, this is pretty cool that they threw that in. You have your stereo to dual mono jacks for planes. You have your 1/4 inch to basically a 6.3 millimeter, so 3.5 millimeter to 6.3 millimeter jack for more sophisticated sources, studio equipment. You have your shirt clip to help alleviate the weight of the giant cables for the KSE1500s. Those cables are massive, so this helps alleviate the weight. And this is actually, I'm really glad that Shure includes all of these things. And then you have a volume attenuator in case the source doesn't have a volume control, maybe a plane for example, and you want to control the volume, you just plug this into the source, and then you plug the KSE1500s. Well, yeah, you'll plug this into the amplifier for the 3.5 to 3.5, and then you can be able to accentuate the sound. Let's see if I'm missing anything else. I am not sure what this is for. And you know about these, don't eat them. So let's move on to the next IEM. Here is what comes with the Shure SE846. Still very nice packaging. So you're gonna open it up like this. Very dramatic. I like that. So up here, you're basically reminded of the epicness that you've just purchased. Over here, you will have your instruction manual and a bunch of warranty documentation and stuff. I don't really think, well, actually this is actually kind of useful. So this will basically showcase how you can utilize, you know, the filters and stuff and how you change them. So the SE846 has a filter system allowing you to adjust the sound frequencies primarily in the treble region from 1 kilohertz to 8 kilohertz, allowing you to make them a bit brighter or a bit warmer, depending on, you know, what your preferences are. All right, underneath all of that, you have a very nice Pelican case. It's a see-through clear. I believe it's water and dust proof, so that's very good to protect your investment, especially when you're out and about. So when that's open, the SE846 would be laying right here with the cable underneath over here. You have a nice microfiber cloth, which is also included with the KSE1500 to help clean the IEMs. And you have a plethora of accessories over here. See what they are. So you have your shirt clip to help alleviate the weight of the cables. You have your stereo to dual mono jacks for planes. You have your 3.5 millimeter to 6.3 millimeter jack for studio equipment and more sophisticated sources like home amplifiers and stuff. You have your volume attenuator in case you plug it into a source that does not allow you to adjust the volume, so you can do it from an external means like this. And you have a secondary cable, which is a bit short. I believe this is 42 inches, and then you have a 63 inch. I'm not too sure on that size, so don't really quote me on that. But I believe the longer cable is originally installed. But it is cool that they do supply a secondary cable, since that's the primary thing that fails with IEMs and headphones. So you also get a case for the SE846 that allows you to store the IEMs here, and you also have all the ear tips to help you get that perfect fit. And then you have the filter removing tool, which is basically pretty cool. So this thing screws off over here, and it stores all of the filters. So currently I have the white filters installed, but you can see the blue and black filter. The blue filter is the reference or neutral filter, and the black is the warmer filter. On the other end, you have the piece that once the tips are removed, you would basically, you push it onto the nozzle, and then you just screw it off, and then you can pull the filters out. Pretty cool. This is a pretty cool design here. So other than that, this is a pretty cool case for its size. You can carry around your tips and everything along with the IEMs right here. So pretty much everything you need to do with these IEMs are in this case. So I hardly really ever use this unless I'm going traveling and I want to carry everything. But what you primarily need can be carried in this nice and dandy small case. So props to Shure for that design. So here's the packaging of the Sennheiser IE800s. And right off the bat, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. This is the most disappointing in terms of the amount of accessories included. Um, However, I will back them up and say that this case is pretty nice, especially how you install it. As you can see, the IEMs, you just wedge them in here. Very nice presentation. You route the cables through, and you just simply just route the cables around. And there's like 3 holes over here in which you just insert the jack into, so the jack essentially flits flush with the case. Um, on this side, you have a very nice engraving here. It says Sennheiser IE800, and then it says the serial number for your specific model. Really nice, really nice. And you have a little wax removal tool cut out. But that's where really everything ends, because in the actual packaging itself, all you really get is a set of extra ear tips. They're all silicone based, so it's 5 tips in total. There's already 2 installed on here. So they're broken up into like small, medium, and large, and then in between those 3. Um, I mean, the tips are very comfortable. They form a good seal. It's just that with silicone tips, the good things about them is that they're very easy to put in and take out. And that's also a double-edged sword, is that they're very easy to take out. So when your ears do begin to sweat and build up moisture and something tugs on the wire, you find you have to keep pushing the earpieces back in, where I'm a much greater fan of foam tips. And also that these are not even around the ear IEM, so you have to wear the IEMs with the wire going down. So you also have to deal with microphonics, and not that great of a security in terms of the fit. So I do find myself from time to time having to readjust these back into my ears, and that is a nauseance. It's annoying. Another thing is the cable. Well, I'll get to more on that. There's a lot of ergonomics issues with these things. So next we have microfiber cloth, and then the manual, and that's pretty much that. So yeah, $800, and that's what you pretty much get. So the accessory inclusion on these are horrible.